I'm Craig Way alongside Jeff Howe. We're very pleased to be joined by one of the new associate head coaches for Vic Schaefer for the Texas women's basketball program, Johnnie Harris, a former National Assistant Coach of the Year and a central part of the success that Coach Schaefer and the staff have built at Mississippi State over the past few years with the back-to-back runs to the national title game and now in Austin and or now part of the Texas program. So Coach Harris joins us now. Coach, Craig Way here along with Jeff Howe. Appreciate you taking the time. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you. First thing I got to ask you here, because during this time when we're talking about we're visiting with coaches and even with student athletes, and we're asking the coaches about how their families are and things like that, and also about how things are about being sheltered in their homes and stuff like that. I would imagine that for you, alongside Coach Schaefer and the rest of the staff, this is quite the bizarre late spring right now, isn't it? Because not only has the pandemic changed all of our lives, when you're changing jobs during a pandemic, I would guess that probably adds a little bit to the drama and the intrigue for you.
It has. We're still here. For the most part, we're still here in Mississippi trying to sell our houses, but still trying to get back and forth there to Austin to buy houses and or some of us are renting. It's just been a little bit different trying to do everything from home.
Johnnie, I'm always fascinated by when a head coach, a celebrated head coach, as Coach Schaefer was, then moves on to another program. And one of the things I started saying I'm really intrigued by is the coaching staff, because quite often, and coaches are very quick to say this, and Coach Schaefer has said this right from the start, that a gigantic part of the success happens because of his coaching staff. So it is understandable for a head coach to want his staff to join him. Sometimes that just isn't possible. Sometimes there might be parts of that coaching staff, but not the coaching staff in toto. Here it is. He's got all of you coming in. How difficult a decision was it for you to want to be a part of Coach Schaefer's staff at the University of Texas?
It's not difficult at all. I mean, we're family. And when I say that, we're truly family. I've been with Coach Schaefer, even 5 years at A&M, 8 years here. So I've been with him a long time. And, other than taking the right head coaching position, there's no other place I'd rather be than right there on the sideline with him. Okay,
now you brought up the low hanging fruit question here because Coach Schaefer has already been asked this question, especially given his family background with the ties to Texas A&M, saying did it seem strange to him? And he has maintained right from the start. He said, "Oh, I'm quite comfortable in burnt orange, and he knows the eyes of Texas and all that." As someone who served there on Coach Blair's staff along with Coach Schaefer there at Texas A&M, did the idea at first with the opportunity to come here seem a little odd, thinking about your time in the Brazos Valley? There you were at A&M, and now to come over to Texas, where at the time when they were still in the league together, obviously, before Texas A&M left for the SEC, here they were with this heavy arch rivalry. Did it seem a little strange to you?
No, not at all. We've been removed from A&M, and although, we have people there that we met and they're still family, but, the opportunity to come to Texas, and I believe I was one of the first people that Coach Schaefer even talked to about this, there was no hesitation. It was just a big opportunity. It's the University of Texas. Coach Schaefer is one of the top coaches in the game, and we just believe we could go there and, build a dynasty.
Coach, I know you can't talk about student athletes who haven't, signed a letter of intent and prospective recruits and things of that nature, but obviously, the organization's off to a really, really good start on the recruiting trail. I guess first, and I know, we'll get into the recruiting stuff here during our time together today, but I was wondering from your standpoint, the opportunity for you to come back to the state of Texas and to be able to sell the Texas brand, promote the Texas brand, recruit to Texas. How exciting and challenging was that for you, looking at coming to Texas to kind of secure the very best talent in this state and get them to the 40 acres?
It's very, very exciting to be able to do that. We know that, the Texas brand is huge, and especially in the state of Texas. And even here, in Mississippi, we still recruited the state of Texas. And some of the commitments that we have, we were recruiting those kids when we were here. And it's just leaving here, going to Texas, how fast we were able to go ahead and secure those commitments was very exciting, and it was pretty telling. Those kids want to stay at home and they want to play for Texas. So, just being able to get there, to recruit those type players and to be able to keep them at home, it's going to be really important for us. Not just in Texas. We feel like we'll be able to recruit, national players. We'll be able to get kids from anywhere to come to Texas because, like you mentioned, the Texas brand is big, and kids will want to come, and also they'll want to come and play for Coach Schaefer. His style of offense, his style of defense is fun. It's exciting. It's hard, and I think a lot of kids don't understand how hard it is to get to that point. But once you get there and you're playing in those games, playing that style, and the fans are involved, it's very, very exciting. And I think that when you're talking about top high-level kids, they want to be in that situation.
Johnnie, sometimes coaches who are really good at recruiting as you are, it would surprise some folks to know that some coaches, even the ones who are really, really good at it, some coaches just don't like it. They don't like recruiting. And then there's other coaches who do like it. Where do you fall it? Do you really enjoy it? Do you enjoy the recruiting side of being a college basketball coach?
I love it. I think our entire staff love it, and I think we are, we tackle it head on. That's something, you can be the greatest coach in the world, but you have to have the right players. And for us, it's just not about player number one, number one in the country, number two. It's about the players that are the best fit for Coach Schaefer's system. So it's challenging, but it's fun. Love getting out, meeting new people, talking to parents, talking to, other people that's involved in those players' lives. So I just think, we're good at it, but it's something that we love to do. Not just, for me, it's just who I am. I just love being able to get out there, meet people, get to know those kids, and sell what we're doing at the University of Texas. So, no, it's not hard at all, and it's something that I love to do.
Coach, when you and Coach Schaefer and the staff and everybody sits down and you talk about recruiting and you're evaluating prospects and you go through the whole process there, what characteristics, and I know some of it's going to be specific for point guards or bigs or what have you, but what specific characteristics have to kind of be on that checklist for a student athlete, for you and Coach Schaefer and everybody to feel like, okay, this girl, she can play for us?
Well, first of all, I think we look for kids that are hard-nosed, tough, physical, aggressive. Those type kids fit into his system. Of course, we look for players that can put the ball in the hole. But those players have to be hard-nosed. They have to be tough, physical, aggressive, not afraid to compete, competitors. That's what we look for. Of course, we look for kids with good character, kids that are going to fit, kids that are going to want to reach out into the community. So, really good personalities and all of that. But as far as on the basketball court, I think the first thing that we look for is hard-nosed, aggressive, toughness, physical, those type kids. They fit what Coach Schaefer is trying to do.
We're visiting with Johnnie Harris, Associate Head Coach for Coach Vic Schaefer, the Texas women's basketball program here on Light the Tower. Johnnie, I know that also one of your areas of expertise is working with the post players, and as the play-by-play guy doing the Texas women's games, I got a chance to see up close how incredible that Tiara McCowan became as a player, and in addition to her, Andriel Howard in helping to create one of those best front courts in the country when you were there. It would probably be natural for me, and I'm sure others have asked you already as well, your impressions of Charlie Collier that you see since she's going to be returning as a junior as the post player for the Longhorns this fall. How about your impressions of what you've seen from Charlie?
You know, Charlie is an amazing player, and I think she's different. I have a lot of people already comparing her to Tiara. She's different. She's a very skilled post player, so we'll be able to do a little bit more with her. But very impressed with what she's doing. Her toughness, I think she's very tough. I think she wants it. She's working right now. I've been talking to her, trying to develop a really good relationship with her. And we recruited her out of high school, so we were kind of familiar with each other. But I just think she has so much more than we have seen. And I've been watching film on her. I've been talking to her a little bit about some of the things that we're going to do with her. And I just think you guys will be amazed. I mean, she's already a really good player, and I think she's on her way to becoming a great player. She's coachable. She wants to learn. She wants to be the best post player in the country, and that's how I'm talking to her about being that best post player in the country. And for her, it's just putting it together. I think she absolutely have the tools to do that.
As we visit with Johnnie Harris, Johnnie, I wanted to ask you one other thing about with regard to the staff. I pointed this out early. It was not just the fact that Coach Schaefer was able to bring you along, but Deanna Jackson-Durrett and also Elena Lovato. How important is it for you? You mentioned that you're all a family. How crucial do you think it is to what you're projecting to be the success for this program on a fast track because you have the entire coaching staff intact? How important is that to this?
I think it's very important because we know each other. We know what Coach wants. We know what works in our system. And I think we all have Coach Lovato, Coach the wings, Coach Jackson, Coach the point guards. And so she knows what Coach, and that the point guard is the position that you have to have right because they're an extension of him on the court. And Deanna is really, really good at that. So she, for her to be able to jumpstart us, because this is going to be a new system. Whoever our point guard is going to be leading us this year, they're going to have to know exactly what Coach Schaefer wants. And to have somebody teaching them, guiding them that already knows what he wants, that's going to be very important. The same thing with the wings and the same thing with the post players. It's going to be really good for us to know exactly what he wants because I'm sure Coach Schaefer is going to be pulled in all kind of directions being a new coach at this university. So, for us to be able to implement the things he needs implemented and him to trust us to do that, it has to be somebody that already know what they need to do. And so that's why I think it's really important for all of us to be there together, and we can put that in. And even if Coach Schaefer is not there, we know what he wants. So, and we know how to put it in.
So, Johnnie, you talked about being there, which means being here. What, based on what we're dealing with right now, what's your hope on your timeline about when you could actually physically make the move to get into Austin, Texas?
Oh my God, we are. Well, Deanna has found a place. Lovato is closing, sometime in the next month or so. I have to get there and find a place. I haven't found a place yet, but we're trying to get there as soon as possible. And I'm saying there because I'm in Mississippi, so it's a little weird. But we're trying to get to Austin as soon as possible, so that so we'll be, be there, be around, and we're not having to work from Mississippi and. That whole 9 yards. Like you said, to start, this pandemic has created a lot of chaos, especially when you're changing jobs like this, and we're still working from here, from Mississippi. It's a little different, but we're all ready. We're ready to get there. We're ready to get going. But I will say we are rocking our Texas gear here in Mississippi, so we already feel like we're on our way.
Terrific. Hey, Johnnie, we appreciate you taking the time and hope to see you real soon here in the Austin area. Look forward to working with you and with Coach Schaefer and the rest of the staff for the ball games this year. By the way, I know at Mississippi State you guys were not shy at all about taking on UConn. Opening the season in Storrs, Connecticut against UConn ought to be quite a challenge for a Texas program, not to mention trips to Arizona and Stanford. I guess you're looking forward to those challenges also?
Absolutely looking forward to those challenges because, that's where we want our players to be. We're coming there to be a top 10 program year in, year out. So that's the way to get started, to let them know, hey, we're not going to shy away from anybody. We're going to be one of the top teams in the country every year. So we might as well get ready for it off the bat. So, yeah,
all right.
It's a challenge, but we're ready for it.
We're looking forward to it. Johnnie, thanks so much for taking the time, and we look forward to seeing you when you get to town here. Safe travels.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. That's Johnnie Harris, Associate Head Coach for Vic Schaefer's staff.